there, I'm Clifford Bates, and welcome once again to Basic Political Science Methods, where we are looking at Stephen Van Ever's Guide to Methods for Students of Political Science, and looking at finishing the second chapter of it. We're in the middle of we're coming near the end of the second chapter, where he addresses. Now, today's question is explaining cases, right? And we're going to be looking at explaining cases in that sense. This is the thing. This is going to be a short video, I think. I hope it's not be too long. We're looking of explaining cases. Now, this says the notes of intrinsic presence. No, this is explaining cases. As noted in chapter 1, again, the previous chapter, which we did a couple of videos before, last week, 5 or 6. We've done 3 videos in chapter 2, so go a couple of videos before that. Chapter 1 sections. Explaining specific cases are assessed by addressing 4 questions, he says. So this is the question. Case explaining studies are called explanatory, interpretive, and disciplines configured case studies. Now, this is the different names of them, right? But explaining cases. But in other words, you explain cases by answering 4 questions. 1, does the explanation exemplify a valid general theory or a covering law? Does the explanation exemplify a valid general law, right? The specific explanation must exemplify a valid covering law. In other words, that an explanation needs to does it explain this? Does this valid a general theory, exemplify a general theory, or a covering law? And the specific explanation must exemplify, be an example of a valid covering law. An explanation that rests on a false general theory falls. So in other words, if the theory is false, if this is false, if the general theory is false, then the explanation fails. Okay, so that's the first principle, right? Before questions. Does the explanation exemplify a valid theory for this? A specific explanation must be exemplified, be an example of a valid theory, and therefore, if the theory is false, then the explanation is therefore false. 2, is the covering law's causal phenomena present in the case? So, again, is the phenomena that causes it present in the case? The explanation's causal phenomena must be present in the case. If not, the explanation fails. Even if A is confirmed cause of B, it cannot explain B when that occurs when A is absent. Right? That's the rule. If you say if it's confirmed that A causes B, well, then what happens when you have B but you don't have A? Therefore, this falls. In other words, the explanation fails. 3, when the covering law's antecedent conditions met in the are the covering law's antecedent conditions met in the case? In other words, are they present? Are they there? Are the conditions present and doing what they're supposed to be doing? Theories cannot explain the outcome of cases that omit their necessary antecedent conditions. In other words, if the theory requires an antecedent condition and those antecedents are not present, then there's something the explanation is not doing. Theories cannot explain the outcomes of cases that omit their necessary antecedent conditions. 4, are conveying laws and intervening phenomena observed in the case. The phenomena that links the covering law's posited cause and effect should be evident in the case and appear in the proper order and location. Right. So therefore, in other words, they should happen when they should. Are the intervening phenomena observed in the case? Are the intervening phenomena present? If this covering law has intervening phenomena, then the phenomena that links the covering law posited in the cause, posited the posited's cause, and effect should be evident, should be there. It should be there. Or they're not there, then I'm sorry, then it's not going to work. The theory is not valid. Explanation is not valid. The logic of case explaining parallels, that of a pathologist doing an autopsy or a detective solving the logic of case, those exactly parallels that of a pathologist doing an autopsy and a detective solving a crime. Specific explanations of the death or the crime are evaluated by asking if they rest on a valid covering law. If the conditions for that covering law's operation, its cause, and required antecedent conditions are observed in that case in hand, and if telltale phenomena that signal its inner workings are also observed, right? A case explaining inquiry does not test theories. So a case explaining inquiry does not test theories. Although the evidence collected could also be used to check a theory's right now. In other words, we're not really testing theory, but this evidence that's collected here can be used to test a theory, can be used to check a theory's validity. So therefore, what we're doing is we're inquiring about the theory, the explanation. Political scientists seldom do case explaining case studies, okay? Partly because they define the task of case explaining to the domains of historians, okay? However, historians often explain cases in a softer way than social scientists would. So therefore, in other words, they explain the cases more in a softer, not hard way. Their explanations are left vague, and the predictions they infer from these explanations are left unspecified. Hence, the meanings of their evidence is often ambiguous. Right? This is the dangerous criticism of historians. This is why this is the political scientist criticism of most historical research. It's too vague. It's too general. They don't give specific. They don't make specific predictions. The general theories that underlie their explanations are often deeply buried. You have to go find them out. You have to dig it, right? The theories are things are there. They're there, but they're buried. He said, historians. As a result, their explanations are hard to interpret and evaluate. This leaves a wide latitude for political scientists to contribute to discussions of historical explanations. In other words, this gives us a room. This is why political science should not only look at present phenomena, but look at past phenomena. This is what we see in American politics. We see this in the APD, American Political Development, which looks at past historic events, past American history. And this is political development in terms of any country can do. We can go look at the past history of past historical events, losing our theories to taking evidence from the historical evidence, and then applying our theories to explain why certain behavior happens and certain things occur. Okay. This is a form of history. Now, historians don't like this. They think we're intruding on their little genres, but our approaches are more harder in a little way than theirs. We have methods of validating that they're just not comfortable with. That explains. This is the question of how do we how to explain cases, right? And this is the kind of approach of investigating them to explain how they work, seeing whether they are trying to understand whether they are valid, not necessarily that they're testing. In other words, we don't, as he said here, that they're not testing of things. Does not test the theory. We're just examining to see if things are present and they're working as they should have worked. And the phenomena are present. That the phenomena are things where they should be, and are they doing the things that they're supposed to be doing? Right. That's the whole point. Now we turn to, and this is tied to tests. Tests, right? Strong versus weak tests, predictions and tests. Now he says, as we said in discussion earlier, both in chapter 1 and also with discussion of when testing theories and antecedent conditions in our previous videos, two videos, we looked at the means of doing it, that of congruence procedures, controlled comparison, congruent procedures, and process tracing. These are methods, but the type of test, ways of testing, But the types of tests, again, we talked about from the chapter one. Between remember, we always have to talk about a test has to be strong during uniqueness and certitude, right? The high unique strong high and strong uniqueness, high and strong strength. These are the strongest tests. Strong tests are better than weak tests, and the results of strong tests carry more weight than the results of weak tests. So that's why this is why congruence. So remember, this is a general principle: strong best, weak strong beats weak. Noted in the section strong versus weak, as noted in the section strong versus weak test in chapter one, a strong test is one whose outcome is likely to result from any factor except the operation or failure of the theory. Unlikely is unlikely to result from anything but the success or failure of the theory. Strong tests evaluate predictions that are certain and unique. A certain prediction is an unequivocal forecast. The more certain the prediction, the stronger the test. A unique prediction is a forecast not made by other known theories. The more unique the prediction, the stronger the test. Again, that's the general rule. When testing a theory, investigators should select cases that enable the most strongest tests. So when you're testing a theory, you should pick the tests that are the strongest tests, enable the strongest test. Select cases that enable the strongest test. This calls for a selection of cases about which the test theory makes certain or unique predictions, or both. In writing up cases, authors should explain and justify the predictions they test. So when you write up the cases, you should explain and justify the predictions they test. Interpretive disputes about case studies often arise from disputes about the fairness of the predictions tested. These disputes can be rationalized by offering a few words on why the prediction is if you think the art is fair. In other words, justify your predictions. Give evidence and support to justify the fairness of your predictions, and therefore as a test. If the predictions are not fair, then in other words, again, the disputes about this always a question about the fairness of the test, right? That's the one of the things. Authors should also comment on the strength of the tests performed. In other words, they should be honest about what they are, the kind of test, the strengths, what kind of strength, how unique and how certain were the prediction tests. Okay. Were the tests of the smoking gun variety? Were they smoking guns, hoop, double decisives, or strong to win varieties? Right. Again, see what these things mean in strong tests in chapter one. We talked about this, right? So therefore, we should test the varieties, whether they are this or that. Okay. Now, another thing we're going to be looking at this chart today is interpreting contradictory results. What do we do about contradictory results? If we get a result we get results, but they're contradictory, what should happen? What should we do? What should investigators do when tests produce contradictory results? When theories pass some tests but flunk others? Answers: investigate further. And 5 procedures are appropriate. So these are the 5 procedures. He's going to say that, okay, what if this happens? If there's a contradictory result, we should what? Okay, do these 5 things. Investigate further, and you should do these 5 things. 1, infer and test additional predictions, with special eye to finding hoop and smoking gun tests. Such additional tests may resolve confusion. So the more tests, and therefore the stronger tests, in other words, stronger tests confer positive results, then the passes of stronger tests should overrule the failures of weaker tests. Okay. And that there's, we should clarify these results. Well, then 2, double check the accuracy of data used for past tests. Some may be wrong. Some of the data may be wrong. If so, unambiguous results may emerge from unambiguous results may emerge from double checking. All tests may now be passed or flunked. In other words, check the data, see the data is correct. Maybe the data or how the was being collected. Double check, because of may emerge from double checking. If so, in other words, may be wrong. Data may have been used wrong or entered wrong in this case. check to see if everything was done correctly. Make sure the data is correct. The data is uniform and correct. And that the tests are testing the actual same data. If they're not testing the same data, the same things, then that's why maybe the results are. So make sure, right? 3, reconsider the predictions you inferred from the theory. Were they fair? Sometimes false flunks or false passes are reported because false predictions are tested. Okay? So in other words, go back in your predictions of the test, were they fair? Were they done? Maybe it was a false prediction, and therefore this was a false test. Okay? Reconsider this. And 4, replicate your tests with using new cases. Replication may produce more consistent results. So to replicate your tests using new cases. Replication may produce more consistent results. In other words, in that sense. Okay. 5, repair the theory. 5, repair the theory in ways that enable it to pass flunk tests by limiting the scope of its claims or removing flunked explanatory hypotheses. This can salvage a damaged theory, although the salvage project is now different, i.e., narrower theory. In other words, it's a different theory. It's not the same thing. You salvaged it, it works, but it's not the bigger theory, it's not the wider theory, it's more narrow theory. Okay? And I think we're going to stop here because the last thing was do a cross-case scenario, and this is going to be a big video on its own. So we'll stop here. These are the big things of this, and we'll stop here and say, take care. If you like the video, like it, share it with a friend, share it on your social media. If you didn't like it, well, okay, thumbs down it, but say why in the comments. If you have any comments or questions about this, that you want more clarification, please put it below, and I will try to answer. When I see them, I'll try to answer them. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. In other words, you can do that. We can kind of grow the channel, spread out, maybe get more people. Encourage other people you know who may be interested in these things to subscribe to the channel as well. You can follow me on my social media links below. You can also follow my academic social media links, my scholarship and research. You can do another thing is that you can, if you want to help what I do financially in that sense, you can become do so by do the links below. Subscribe star or Patreon. Become a member. Usually it's like $5 or $1. I don't remember what it was. I think it's $5 a month. If you do that, you want to do something like that. It's not okay. I understand why people might not want to do that, but it'd be nice. I would like to get a couple of people doing this. It's going to help me raise money to do some things, for like buy books or buy some research material and do something. Pay for things like pay for my fees for some of these editing, stuff. I have to pay, some aspects of this. My Google account is like I had to go buy it. It's like, oh God, I had to pay like 2 terabytes for my Google. Okay, so much a month. It's like, $10 a month. Okay, that's $10 a month I have to pay for, but that's in there, here and there. Another way you can help me is you can buy one of my books. So if you know someone who want to buy a gift book for a friend who's interested in certain subjects, my Aristotle 3 books, my 3 books are listed below. You can find them on most Amazon or through most bookstores like Barnes & Noble and other things. You could probably find a copy. If you want to help, if you buy the Lulu book, please buy it by Lulu. Maybe the shipping a little more, but I will get the extra money for the that Amazon gets. In other words, Amazon will take a profit, and therefore I only get a little bit. But if you buy for Lulu, I get a bigger bit of money, so it's more useful to do it that way. But that's it. We'll continue. We have 2 more videos, I think, on this. We're finishing this up, and we'll be done on this. That's it. Well, take care. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Have a good one.